Howdy. This little portion is for Facebook. Um, Found my primary color scheme, and I got new headphones, mostly because I have big ears, so I was tired of them being squished. So, anyways, this is going to be the lie of it won't be like last time. Here we go. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your host, Keegan. So, I kind of want to touch on something that everyone has said whenever it comes to bad situations or getting stuck in a cycle that seems never ending. And that little lie is this time it'll be different. And, well, sometimes it is different, but usually it's for the worse. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt or chunk of salt and then whittle it down, if you will. But really, it's not a whole lot better. And if it is, it doesn't last long. But, I mean, that's kind of what happens whenever you're in addiction, right? Um, and so it's a sad truth, but where does it come from? Where does that little lie, where does it get birthed? Like the origin, was it something that was planted in our heads? Maybe, kind of, sort of. But in my opinion, in my experience, whenever I started to partake in substances, especially like alcohol, it was fun. It started off as good old innocent fun, like everyone will do. Okay, well, maybe not everyone. If you're good at Tushu, you're probably not going to understand a lot of what I say, and maybe that's why you're here. Maybe not. I don't know. That's for you, not me. But, anyways, whenever it starts as something that's positive and a good time, it that itself is addicting, and it makes it worse whenever you suffer from mental illness like anxiety, depression, uh, being bipolar like myself, um, a slew of things, and it gives you something to hope for, something to look forward to doing with friends, family, anyone, no one, alone. I mean, literally, addiction gets started anywhere, but it usually starts from having a good time and then wanting that same good time every time. And that's where the whole chasing the purple dragon or whatever you will comes from. It's getting back to that original time that you used and you had fun. It was great. But that's the lie, is that it almost never gets anywhere close to that first or maybe even third time. It slowly goes down and down and down. But that is also how a lot of people, kind of myself, fall into trying other things. And, well, that's the thing, is it works. Again, only for a little bit, but That's it. Is that it does work. And it sucks. But I mean, is what it is. But where does this idea, this little lie of it will be different this time, where does that come from? I don't know. I guess everyone's a little different, but if I had to take a guess with my experience, it's because I've been the exception to rules and I've gotten away with things that I shouldn't have, but I did. And I think that kind of goes along for a lot of people, if not everyone. But I mean, think about it. The more you get away with something, right, it starts to make a cascade or snowball effect if you don't keep it in check. And by keeping it in check, it's, well, how much of a, like, how much of a bad seed do you want to be? But also at the same time, you're not necessarily a bad seed so long as your intentions are good. But I mean, to each their own. And that's the thing, is a lot of people don't intend to do wrong, but again, to each their own. And for me, if something doesn't make sense, like if a rule just makes no sense to me, I will fight it. I will make sense. And that's it's dangerous because there are things that are in place for a reason, but a lot of the time, I personally can only learn through experience. Not to say I can't learn from someone, can't learn from someone else's story, but again, that's just kind of where it starts. Um, I remember thinking, well, if drugs are so bad, why are people doing it? Like in the first place, like oh, to be young and naive. But that is the thing, is yeah, you have this experience growing up with like Dare and Red Ribbon Week, I think it was, right? But you have these programs in place that are trying to teach the youth, don't use drugs. Okay, yeah, good and fair. I I can agree. But the thing is, for someone that has a mindset like myself or similar, it makes them go, but why? Like it doesn't, even with the stories, the explanation, any of it, it has to make sense to me. And until it does, I'm going to sit there and poke the sleeping dog. Like, I didn't know. Like, y'all said the dog bites, but it's sleeping. It looks fluffy, right? Well, I mean, again, there's reasons why, but that's the thing too, is why listen to everything and take it as 100% truth? Because if we all did that, the world would never get any better. And it's a lot like the talking to someone that's been at, say, a job for years, and you go, hey, why do we do it this way? They say, oh, that's just how we've always done it. Like that's just it. And to you, it makes no sense, right? So you're like, yeah, fuck that. Like, no. And well, I mean, step on people's toes, break eggs, make omelets. I don't know. Cut up a jalapeno, make it a little spicy, make it worthwhile. Anyways, so this lie of it'll be different is interesting because, yeah, sometimes it is different, but again, for the worse. And every now and then, it's good again, but like real small. And I know in my experience, and you can ask others from the people I've talked to, uh, turns out that your situation, your environment, who's around you, what you're doing, when you're doing it, that will play a huge part in how you experience what you're doing. So, let's see. Let's go with like smoking weed, right? Well, you smoke a blunt, same time, every day, in your living room, playing the same game, whatever. Well, uh, you can take that same blunt and go out into the woods with some friends and smoke it there, and it'll be a completely different experience. And that is what keeps a lot of people doing what they do. But that's also where you'll find the difference of a heavy user and a quote unquote addict. And it's that the heavy user can and will stop and stay stopped if they have a good enough reason, like jail, divorce, death, the big three. And someone like myself, you can tell me all these things, but for some reason, my brain goes, no, no. And I trust me, I still am trying to figure it out. But I can say that for me, whenever I had learned that if I kept doing what I was doing, I was going to get divorced. Yeah, that fucking sucked. Um, I would probably die, and well, just life wouldn't get better. Well, so I started to look into alcohol detox, uh, do's, don'ts, and the warning signs of like you're too far gone. And by the time I was ready to quit, my head wanted to quit, my body did not. And then here's where it also gets a little weird, because after a certain point, my brain, my mind, my psyche wanted it, but it needed it to actually function. And then my body started needing it, and like it's a bad cycle, and I do not wish any of this on my own worst enemy. I mean, no. Like, if you want to experience a living hell, become addicted to something, and you know it'll kill you, it'll ruin your life. You know all of this, but you can't. That is a true living hell. But anyways, so it kind of flip-flopped. My brain wanted to kind of stop, but my body didn't. And then it flip-flopped again, and I I was so far gone that just quitting, cold turkey, uh, that would have killed me, and it almost did. Thank fuck I was in the right place. Um, but I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for uh, my father, my cousin, or brother, rather, and then my ex wife. So, thanks to those guys, you still got me. So, there's that. But, yeah, my body really wanted to quit, and it couldn't. I mean, it could have, but it could have killed me. And that's some of these addictions, too, is that some of them, like barbiturates, so Xanax, you can get hooked on it. You can get addicted. And depending on how long and how much you partook, you might actually die from trying to get clean, trying to get better. That shit can kill you. And it's interesting because I remember whenever I was taking health science classes to get my CNA in phlebotomy, our teacher, she'd been a nurse for years, and someone had asked her about smoking cigarettes and how it played into old age. And well, that's kind of the thing, is that it was like, well, you just let them keep doing it. And they were like, but why? Well, after so long, just the smoking, like the chemicals, the act, it has become a part of them. Their anatomy, their physiology, everything has adapted to take it and use it to function and operate homeostasis. And that's the thing, is that she said she saw more uh, geriatric patients die from quitting something that they've been doing for decades. And she said it's just best to let them keep doing what they've always have been doing if they want to live longer. But yeah, it's the lie of it'll be different. It goes in so many directions, and again, like sometimes it is different, but sometimes you might end up in the hospital. Sometimes you might end up in court. Sometimes you might end up being in the birthday cake with a stripper for someone's party. No, that hasn't happened to me, but I mean, I'm just throwing out theoretical situations that I don't know. I'm sure someone's done it somewhere, and now I'm kind of curious. Hmm. Anyways, so yeah, it's different every now and then, and whenever you realize trying to get better can kill you, that it's a huge moral dilemma. It's the lesser of two evils, and neither one of them are good at all. But I mean, what do you gotta lose at some point, right? Again, like a heavy user, they can be told you'll get divorced, you'll end up in jail, you'll die if you keep doing what you're doing, and they can quit. They may have a hard time, mind you. I didn't say it was going to be easy by any means. The thing is, they can stop and stay stopped. For someone of my mindset, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult. And I think it's kind of interesting because to put a positive spin on this, and this isn't trying to make like make it seem like it's all okay, because well, it's not really. But here's a thing to think about. For that person to be so hopeful that it'll be different, that it'll be good again, whenever evidence says the exact opposite, don't you think that that's actually a lot of fucking faith? Like, that is a lot of faith, and it's the hope and or knowledge that it'll be better, it'll be good. You don't know how, you don't know why, you don't know when. You just believe that it will. And again, whenever it is, just reinforces it, makes it harder to get back out of. But I mean, good luck. I mean, it's a short road, very short. And if you know anyone that is still struggling with addiction, with mental illness, literally just having a shit time, don't give up on them, please. Like, that is the absolute last thing they need, is someone else turning their back on them because they just won't get it together. And then that's why a lot of them will take their life, because no one else is here, no one else believes, and it just reinforces that negative mindset that they're trying so hard to get away from. Don't reinforce that. Don't shame them because, oh, you have a choice. No, they lost that a long time ago. And don't put it on them, because really, trust me, if they had their way, if they really could, they would. And here's the thing. I really wanted to, and I couldn't because, well, a lot of reasons, but it was that negative reinforcement that made me quit on myself. And the last thing I needed was for everyone, or damn near everyone, give up on me. And shit sucks. So please, don't do it for me. maybe don't even do it for that person, but do it for yourself. Because I know for me, I would rather listen and help someone out through their time of hardship, trouble, existential crisis, whatever have you. And I'd do that 100, 200, however many times. I'd rather do that than have to sit through the eulogy just once. So, with that, I'll sign off, and in the next time, we'll see about having a good interview. So, thanks for sticking around. You have a great rest of whatever time of day or night, or I don't know, a dream you may be having. Bye.